Welcome to Friday night, folks. It's a good night. Tonight, as you see, early voting has closed. So, go ahead and close out that chapter. If you've already early voted, thank you for having done it already. I know a lot of you out there have. Thank you very much. That's a lot of stress off of you. And the great thing is you can start looking forward to the next election cycle. Yes, you can. So, you're thinking about running for office? Do it. We need more people who are actually interested in running for office, who believe in the responsibilities of being an elected representative. Okay, now, the way I look at it, you're an elected official. You are not a leader. You are a representative. You were picked. You were chosen to represent the will of the people. You were not picked to be a leader. You were not picked to be a boss. You were not picked to dictate to your constituents what the world should be like. So no reason in particular, except that I was looking through some of the ads the past couple of days, from different people who identify as leaders. Yes. Elected office, while there is a certain role, there is a certain leadership responsibility that comes from, and it comes from setting the example. It doesn't come from dictating policy. It doesn't come from, telling people what to do. It is by setting the example, living the lifestyle as appropriate for your community that you're trying to represent. But ultimately, your job as an elected official is to be a representative of the people and make sure that they're taken care of in a way that is appropriate for government to do. Okay. Now, from a libertarian perspective, that means the government can't go out and take something from somebody else to give it to you. That's not what, that's what government does. It does it all the time. Just look at what the Republicans and Democrats do all the time. They take something from you and give it to somebody else. They take something from somebody else and give it to you. They take lots of things from other people and give it back to other people. That's what the Republicans and Democrats do. That's what we've allowed government to do. And that is not right. And it's not the role of government to take from people. Be a leader. You set the example. Now, early voting has closed. So, those of you who have early voted, like my brother today. Yes, my brother. I love him. So he calls me up and says, "Hey, bro, my car's not legal. I need a ride to early vote." So I go and I pick him up and I take him down to 400 Benjamin. That is the Ada County election headquarters. It is. And he goes in so he can vote. Now, it sucks because he actually lives in CD2, so him and I didn't actually discuss that ahead of time. I know he lives in CD2. But for some reason, he goes in and he starts looking down the ballot and he's looking for my name. Except my name's not in his district. The irony of this is he's actually looking down the ballot and, he's doing his thought process and he's looking at it. Except he forgot his glasses today. Yeah. So he's looking down the ballot and he sees Aaron Swisher, Mike Simpson, Sierra Law. Except he doesn't actually see Sierra Law. He sees Sharia law. Needless to say, he did not vote for Sharia law. Yes. But my brother, he went in so he can relax now. He can look at all of the voting. He can look at all of the propaganda. He can look at everything that's going on and go, I don't care anymore. It's done. The rest of us, though, yes, early voting may be closed. However, next Tuesday, which is the big day. Yes. Tuesday elections will be the big day. It's when the rest of us, that's when the last of us who are going to vote will vote. You'll go into our polling stations and check the boxes and vote our conscience and decide, whatever's the appropriate direction we want our nation to go in. Good things. So, Tuesday, vote. Vote your conscience. Democrat, Republican, Libertarian. You'll have at least one of each on your ballot. You will. Congressional District 1, Congressional District 2. Yes, there is a Libertarian on the ballot in both locations. There's also a Democrat. There's also a Republican. You figure out exactly where it is you want our nation to go. What's important to you? Do you like what the Republicans have done for the nation over the last 40 years? Do you like what the Democrats have done? They both had power. Both of them have been established. Both of them have had control of the House and the Senate and the presidency. All three at some point, in the last 40 years. Lots of opportunities to make good things happen. The entire nation. Yeah, here we are. So, you think about it. Going to keep hiring the same contractor to fix your house? Going to get a new one? I'm aiming for a new one, but it's all right. I sort of got to depend on the rest of you because we are a democratically representative republic. And we choose our leaders by consensus. Ooh, I used that word again. Leaders. We choose our representatives by consensus. Do our representatives represent you? Or do you expect them to lead? How you doing, Kareem? Yep. Duopoly. It's useless. Yep. Some reason, the majority of people will go out and they will vote for the duopoly, believing that the duopoly will fix what they've consistently broken for the last 100 years. Yep, that is what it is, Kareem. So, what else you guys want to talk about? See a couple of you out there looking, listening. We got some things going on with a couple different places right now. Ballot initiatives will start to roll out. Reason why is because after the risk 2 years ago when we went through and our Representative C. Scott Grow, yes, decided to put in a bill that would make it impossible for the citizens' initiatives to meet the requirements to get on the ballot. Yeah. Oh, yeah, we definitely need to get rid of the Federal Reserve. Federal Reserve needs to go. Audit the Fed, then disband it. Drug war, also an awesome one. Kudos on the drug war. We definitely need to get rid of that. That is a serious waste of resources. That facilitates human trafficking. It facilitates black market drugs. It facilitates, corruption in the police department. Facilitates corruption in the courts, too. Let's be honest about it. We got people who are sons of senators who are walking on meth addiction Cocaine addiction, crack cocaine addiction, nobody gives them anything. You know, they don't go to prison for that. Yet your kid or my kid will. 10 years. Easy. Or just that much crack. Yeah. Absolutely. Current military industrial complex definitely needs to go. Reason why is because in addition to the wars and 100, rockets, red glare, the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Over 150 other nations around the world. Why is the Star Spangled Banner flying over 150 other nations? Are you getting anything from it? Am I getting anything from it? Yeah. Spend some time in Korea. Spend some time in the Philippines. Spend some time in Afghanistan and Iraq. Star Spangled Banner was flying over all of those every time. I stopped in Turkey. There's a Star Spangled Banner flying there too. Yes, there was. Germany, Ireland. Yes, yes. Star Spangled Banner is flying there too. It's amazing. Sun never sets on the Star Spangled Banner. Boom! Yeah. Whew. Yeah, well, natural resources. That's one of the things. Yeah, we are stealing natural resources from a lot of those nations right now. We are. In order to preserve what they like to call the strategic reserve, is the natural resources actually in U.S. land, which is one of those things that's interesting because the U.S. is now the largest exporter. Yes, we are the largest exporter of oil in the world. Interesting thought, considering we used to be the largest importer. We are now the largest exporter. See, that's what happens when you deplete the rest of the world's reserves, and all of a sudden you're the only one with any reserves left. And that's what we're doing with our military-industrial complex right now. We're running out and we're exploiting the rest of the world. So, yes. 244 years later, we are still raiders. We are still going out and taking from other people their natural resources, rather than working on building sustainability within our own nation, right? Sustainability, that's what it's about. Are we capable of creating sustainability in our own nation? Are we capable of, being able to do without a lot of those natural resources that we're currently in the process of exploiting the rest of the world for? I'd say yes. Well, yeah. Nuclear energy is definitely an option. It's not one of my favorites. Reason why is because despite all of the new technology and the second uses, we still don't have a means of reburning it. We still have nuclear waste after the nuclear energy, and we still don't have a solid way of dealing with it. Now, this is a particular interest. Reason why is because we have a problem with, 70-year-old reactor here, Idaho. Who knew Idaho is one of the first places in the nation to actually have a nuclear reactor? Arco, Idaho. Arco, Idaho. It was the first nuclear city here in Idaho. Yeah, see, but the problem was when Arco, now I gotta do research. You guys are killing me. Arco was the first community in the world ever to be lit by electricity generated solely by nuclear power. Okay, now this was the Argonne National Library or Laboratory. It was a Borax 3 reactor. the nearby National Reactor Testing Station, now the Idaho National Laboratory. Yeah, that was 1955, folks. July 17th, 1955. Problem was we didn't understand the fallout from nuclear waste at the time. We had the nuclear energy. We figured out how to do that, but we didn't understand that there were problems with the nuclear waste. So rather than disposing of it properly back in 1955, and for several years after that, yes, for several years after that, we just sort of dumped it in the backyard, which is why we got radiation and cancer pockets all across eastern Idaho right now. So, much as I like the idea of nuclear energy and the fact that we are storing it much better than we used to, you still got to store the waste. Ending qualified immunity and the militarization of the police. Yes. QI definitely needs to go away. Right? Nuclear waste in Puget Sound. One of the problems we got with that is, Seattle Light is actually using hydropower from our backyard here. We got a hydro dam called Lucky Peak Reservoir. It is actually providing hydropower for Seattle Light, which of course lights up Puget Sound. So part of that national community, Seattle pays us for your power. That's a good thing. But yeah, qualified immunity needs to go away. That's one of those things we actually need to write legislation, because qualified immunity was a figment of the Supreme Court's imagination. It doesn't officially exist anywhere in the legal statutes. It's almost like they decided to make it a common law with just one case they decided to read. And boom, next thing you know, qualified immunity exists all across the United States for police officers. But yeah, and the qualified immunity and the militarized police. And I've actually talked about the militarized police in previous episodes, Kareem. But where we talk about that is, the Army and our deployments overseas in Afghanistan and Iraq eventually reached a limit for our military industrial complex. They didn't need to keep buying more and more equipment, for operations in Afghanistan and Iraq. So what did they do? Well, all of the surplus they had built with the intent of shipping it over to Afghanistan and Iraq, they decided to sell or gift. That's what it was the United States government, the federal government, had actually purchased it and had no use for it. So they started gifting it to state, county, and city law enforcement agencies. Yeah, that may not have been the best deal. Snowden and Assange, yep. They need to be released. They are effectively press. They are journalists. They're not agents of foreign powers. The information that they put out into the public that the United States citizens needed to know, yes, we needed to know it. They gave it to the people, not the enemies of the state. You happen to believe the people are the enemies of the state, you may be a statist. Just saying. Yeah, Puget Sound. Nina, how are you doing? How's election working for you? So Nina, she's one of my fellow anarchist friends. She's actually running as a Democrat here in the state of Idaho. So sorry. least as a libertarian, you would have gotten some respect. But that's all right. You trying. You ran for office. Kudos. Good on you. That's better than, half of the other people who are complaining about our political officials have ever done. We got people on the left and right, complaining. They're not doing anything about it. They're not running for office. You ran. Win. Good for you, Nina. You stop. So, country is still in the thrall to the philosophy of limitless growth. Yes, it is. Crony capitalism. Growth for the sake of growth is the philosophy of cancer. Okay? If we return to free markets, the limitless growth goes away. People will actually be able to have a pastime. They will be able to have leisure time because they will no longer be working towards that limitless growth. And they will once again be able to find work-life balance that is so important to the human psyche. Degrowth, imbalance, yep. Yeah, not a fan of nuclear either. I understand that. Electric consumption. I mean, that's really what it's about. Do we really need all the electricity that we use on a daily basis? No, we don't. There's ways to reduce that, definitely. Reduce electricity consumption through building efficiency. That's one of the things I'm really interested about, especially with zero carbon emission buildings. So, okay. And foreign wars, yep, definitely, Kareem. So one of the things I want to do here is I actually want to go back and I want to talk about, zero carbon construction. Now, this is a real interesting concept, and it's one of those things I want to build on what you're talking about here, Nina, as far as reduce electricity consumptions through more building efficiency. Now, one of the things we got here with regards to that is, you're welcome, Kareem. Absolutely, you're welcome. But zero carbon construction. Reason why is because this reduces our needs. If we go in and we start working on issues that reduce our needs for natural resources, and we work on the zero carbon emissions, and that energy conservation that goes into the process. So we got several different ways of approaching that. And one of the ways I like to think about is the microturbines. We can use microturbines for just about everything, just about anything. Set up a little micro wind turbine, put a little bells on it, a couple glass beads, and you can start generating a small amount of electricity, enough electricity to actually charge a laptop, say. And that's just your little wind chime, your little windmill wind chime with a spin that can generate enough electricity to pipe a charge into a battery in your house somewhere. Run on DC current. That's one of the other things we got a problem with. Right now, we actually have to build our houses on an AC electric model. Okay. Now, most of our small scale power things that we can do, whether it's through earth batteries, whether it's through geothermal, whether it's through wind turbine, or hydro, you can go ahead and put any one of those in any one of those situations and be able to create electricity. But the electricity created in all those scenarios is actually direct current rather than alternating current. So we start getting into this concept of how to build things. So we start getting into our building codes are AC. So literally we have to take our direct current, our solar power, our hydropower, our wind power, and it's all DC, and we got to convert it to AC so that we can run it through the house And then once we run it through the house, we stick it into an appliance that has to convert it back to DC. So we actually waste a significant amount of energy in the process of converting DC to AC back to DC. And it's the same thing because our entire electrical grid, our entire national electrical grid is built on the alternating current concept that was created back, Tesla. And Tesla, the other guy, the guy who pirated all of his ideas. So we're wasting all of that energy when in the process we could actually go in and just build our houses, build our homes on the DC, so that the only thing we need to convert, and that's convert at one time, is the stuff that's coming in off of the grid. It's an idea. So the other thing is of course, working with Green Building. We got leads. We got some great leads architects here in the Treasure Valley. Which is one of those things that continues to confuse me. Why are we spending $1 million to hire a leads architect from San Francisco when for $100,000 we got somebody here in Boise who can do just as awesome with zero carbon emission building plans? I'm just saying. Yeah. And if you pay attention to all of the geo activity going around in Idaho right now, what is it? I think we had 5 earthquakes up in Stanley today, somewhere in the neighborhood of about an average of a 3 point each. Yeah, that was fun. Didn't actually feel any of them here in Boise, or maybe my butt's just getting numb to them. But yeah. So those things are going to be real interesting as we start moving forward with some of the different options. That zero carbon construction, energy consumption. It's one of the other things. I'm a minimalist myself. I almost never turn on a big screen TV. 90% of my communication, my activities, my entertainment is derived from the laptop I'm using right now to talk to you. And this thing. Okay. Essentially minimalist. I don't watch cable. Yeah, so that's one thing. I'm using the internet. Yes, I am doing that. I am using Wi-Fi. I don't think it's a cancer-causing wave level Wi-Fi, although they are piping a 5G through my modem here, my Wi-Fi modem. We'll see. I'm getting old enough to where that doesn't necessarily affect me on a cellular level like it does a lot of young kids. A lot of young kids have successfully grown up in vicinity of that, so we'll see. A lot of changes over the last 20 years have caused kids to react in strange ways. What was the technology that was actually created that caused the kids to start those modified behavior patterns? Who knows? Chances are we're never going to be able to isolate it, simply because of everything that we got hit with at the exact same time. Anyway, so Kareem, you want to know about Bitcoin and other cryptocurrency? So, this is one of those things I'm not entirely sure about. Reason why is because Bitcoin and a lot of these other cryptocurrencies are based off of sequences. Codes that can be confirmed, cross-patterned, and a lot of them also work as crypto keys. So when you go through and you start doing the Bitcoin mining, looking for all of those unique sequences at whichever frequency, whether it's the hexadecimal, binary, whatever, it's looking for all of those extreme prime numbers further and further down the line. And all of these codes, of course, get stored in a library. Each one of these codes now represents a Bitcoin that's worth a certain amount, depends on what it is. But what you end up with is a library of crypto keys. Now whoever's is in charge of this library full of crypto keys no longer has to use processing power for brute force attacks against crypto sequences. All you have to do is run a matching algorithm, which basically means who's ever in charge of these cryptocurrency libraries has a massive crypto key dictionary to run against crypto keys security anywhere in the world. The other problem is these cryptocurrency libraries or dictionaries or whatever you want to call them are also subject to the effects of electromagnetic pulses, which means unless you're hardening the site that's storing the keys, somebody's crypto wealth can literally be wiped out in a heartbeat with an electromagnetic pulse. Now, does that mean it's bad? No. It's just me thought storming. I know there's an awful lot of individuals out there that believe in a variety of these different crypto libraries, whether it's Bitcoin, Ethereum, banana Bitcoin, marijuana Bitcoin. They got a couple different crypto processes responsible for doing a number of different things. It helps fund some projects. Some of them are working on like an eco coin, which also helps with reforestation in some communities around the world. So, some of them are actually trying to do good off the backbone of building these crypto libraries. So I'm not against them. It's just one of those things I caution. Now, from an agorist perspective or some sort of anti-capitalist perspective, somebody who's interested in being a pirate who has access to these libraries can take down U.S. banking institutions, global banking institutions, global corporations, because they have a crypto dictionary with all of the possible keys. Anyway, my thoughts. Yeah. Okay, so it's 30 minutes, folks. Kareem, definitely thank you for joining in and asking the questions. Nina, awesome questions. Love what you've seen, what you've been doing on Twitter. It is one of those shames that you kept your account on lockdown all summer, but then again, the district you're running in, I don't blame you. Some of them are major jackasses. And even though you're on the ballot, it is nice not having to deal with some of those personalities on your social media platforms. Los Yondos had to deal with that. Absolutely. Love to talk about immigration next time, Kareem. Definitely. But we're almost done. Yes, we are. We're almost done. And you can relax until you decide to run for another office again. Yeah. Or maybe you can convince somebody else to run so you don't have to. That's also an argument. Possibility. Libertarian Party's running a little bit slim. I'll probably end up running again in 2 years. Not sure which office yet. Depends on who else of my friends decides to run. And for which party? I really wish more of my friends would actually run for the Libertarian Party rather than for the Republican or the Democrat. Yet, there we are. Anyway, love you guys. Remember, family, friends, community. As long as you got the support of those three, you can make anything happen. Love you. Peace. Enjoy your weekends, folks. Steve, appreciate you too. Love you, man. Take care of each other. And hopefully I'll see you second Saturday in November. I think that's November 14th, right? See you on the 14th. We'll talk about next election cycle. Love you guys.